So as you can tell from the title of this video, I am currently pregnant. I am about 6.5 weeks pregnant right now. I haven't been in for like my official ultrasound to get an exact due date, but it should be around December the 1st. I haven't been posting a whole lot of videos the last month or so just because, man, these first 6 weeks have been like a roller coaster of emotions. There have been some really scary moments and some really happy moments. My partner and I have been trying to get pregnant for a little over a year. So we, of course, were like super excited to find out we were pregnant, but then I had bleeding scares and it's just been very stressful. I am 36, so considered old. I've actually even had OBGYNs refused to see me because of my age, and they consider me high risk, so they wouldn't see me. It has been a huge ordeal trying to find an OBGYN in my area to see me, which I think is insane, but that's a whole story in and of itself. I've also been pretty sick the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to share everything from like the beginning all the way up until now. And throughout this pregnancy, I'm going to be sharing updates. One, because I love watching these videos and I think that they're really interesting, and two, just for like my own personal memories, because it's really hard sometimes to remember all of these details. I currently have 2 children who are 13 and 15. They are from a previous relationship, and this is going to be my partner's first baby. So he is super excited. Starting from the very beginning, like I said, we had been trying for over a year to get pregnant. We started trying like actively in January of 2021, and then we found out we were pregnant in March of 2022. During this time, I was taking my basal body temperature with like a thermometer and doing OPK strips just to track my ovulation. My cycles are very regular, and I knew when I was ovulating, and I was able to keep up with that pretty easily. But I also knew, because I was older, that it was going to be harder to get pregnant probably, but I didn't realize exactly how long it was going to take. It did take a lot longer than I thought. With my first 2 kids, I got pregnant when I wasn't even trying. I was actually on birth control pills both times. Not that I didn't want my kids, I definitely did, but I didn't necessarily want them at the time that I had them because I was really young. So my experience with that was just, I assumed that it would be pretty easy to get pregnant, but that just wasn't the case now that I am older, I guess. Because it took so long, I was kind of just in the mindset that every single month it was going to be negative. I had so many negative pregnancy tests, and I was just always going to assume that I was not pregnant. This month was a little bit different because my boobs did get really sore before I started my period. I occasionally have sore boobs before I start my period, but not to the intensity that they were sore this month. And I also had cramping from about 4 days after I ovulated just on, and it was just mild cramping, but my uterus just felt different. So I was questioning it, but you know, I still assumed that it was going to be negative. So I didn't get it recorded or anything like that, just because I just assumed it was going to be negative. So I was supposed to start my period on a Sunday, and I took a few tests like before that, but they were all negative. And Sunday came and I spotted a little bit that day, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna start my period. But by the end of the day, like, I had stopped spotting, and I thought, well, I'll just start my period tomorrow, because sometimes I'll spot at the beginning of my period. And the next day there was absolutely nothing. So I thought that was really weird, but I still in my head thought that I wasn't pregnant. So I took a test. It was like in the middle of the day. I was like, well, I'll just take a test. My partner was home and we looked at it at first and it was obviously negative at first. And then I came back like 5 minutes later and it was definitely positive, and it was just a complete shock. So I continued taking the pregnancy test every day just to make sure that the line was getting darker, and it was getting darker every day. And so I knew that I was definitely pregnant. I went to the doctor, like my primary care doctor, and got a confirmation that I was pregnant, which I knew, just to have it on record. Pretty soon after I got my positive pregnancy test, you know, my boobs had been hurting, but they were hurting so bad. And I had to buy a new bra like almost immediately. Like that week that I found out I was pregnant, I had to go to the store because I like literally could not wear my old bras because they were too tight and they were so painful. I found out I was pregnant about week 4 of my cycle because, you know, your cycle starts the first day of your last period. So you're not actually pregnant the first couple to 3 weeks. And then week 4 was when I found out I was pregnant. So I found out pretty early. And then week 4 and like 4.5, I felt pretty good. I was like, oh, yay, I'm not gonna get nauseous. I'm feeling really good. And then like week 5, my nausea has like gotten worse every single day. I have heartburn, I have food aversions. I like literally don't want to eat anything unless it's like yellow carb type foods. I've literally been eating oatmeal, rice, waffles. What else can I eat? Crackers, potatoes. Like I can't eat anything else without just feeling so sick. Like I don't want to eat anything. I also usually drink a cup of coffee in the morning and my coffee tastes like garbage. So I don't get a headache. I'm like forcing down about half a cup of coffee every morning, just like a few sips. I know that drinking coffee is not good and I shouldn't. So I guess it's a good thing that I'm going to wean myself off the coffee, and I guess I just won't drink coffee anymore. My boobs are still really sore. My nipples are like on fire all the time. And I haven't really been that tired, but I've also been resting a lot. So let me tell you like the horrible bleeding scare that I've had the last week that has been so just emotionally traumatizing that like I was for sure I was having a miscarriage. And so I'm still really anxious about that. And I was always anxious about that anyway, just because I know that I am older and the rates of miscarriage are a lot higher when you're over 35. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind that it could definitely happen. And then I started bleeding really bad. So I just assumed that was what was going on. But let me tell you what actually happened. So today is Wednesday, and last Wednesday, we went to Disney, and I didn't get on any rides or anything. We were just walking around, but I like was walking around a whole lot. And that night when I got home, I started spotting, and I was still spotting the next morning. And so I was like getting really stressed out. By Thursday night, it stopped. So I thought maybe I had just walked too much, but then Friday morning when I woke up, I was spotting and it was a little bit brighter red. So I decided to go to the ER because I hadn't found an OBGYN to see me yet. So I went to the ER and they did a transvaginal ultrasound and they took my HCG levels. They saw an embryo and a yolk on the transvaginal ultrasound. So that was still there and everything looked good. And then my HCG levels were super high. They were like 61,000, which is like over really what it should be. So I'm still a little bit worried about that. But I mean, I guess that is fine. She said everything was good. So when they did the transvaginal ultrasound, they had a student do it. And I don't think she had ever done it before, and it was not an enjoyable experience. It took forever and it was very irritating. So Saturday morning when I woke up, I was pouring bright red blood and I was so stressed out. I was cramping a little bit, but not a whole lot. I researched like what would happen during a miscarriage, and they said severe cramping, severe bleeding. I was bleeding pretty badly, but I wasn't really cramping. So I wasn't really sure what was going on, but all day Saturday and all day Sunday, I had bright red blood all day. And so I was really, really stressed out. But the ER had told me bleeding was normal, and there really wasn't anything I could do, even if I was having a miscarriage. So I just was gonna wait until Monday morning and try and find an OB who would see me, or if I couldn't do that, then I was gonna go back to the ER. Monday morning, the bleeding had slowed down. It was more of spotting and it was darker. It wasn't bright red blood anymore. I did find an OB that was like an hour away who could get me in the next day on Tuesday. So I made that appointment, and so the rest of the day, Monday and Tuesday, I was just barely spotting. And so Tuesday was yesterday, and I went to the appointment and I was like so relieved that they did find a heartbeat and everything looked good. And she diagnosed me with a subchorionic hemorrhage, which basically is just there's a pocket of blood between the placenta, where like the embryo attached to my uterus, which is pretty common. It happens somewhere between 1% and 3% of pregnancies. And it's like the leading cause of bleeding in the first trimester, besides like implantation bleeding. So they said that it isn't a bad bleed, and it should resolve on its own. And I am kind of like on, not bed rest, but I am supposed to stay calm and not do any type of like strenuous physical activity or much activity at all, other than just walking and doing basic things. So I am supposed to be resting just so I don't irritate that bleed anymore. Here are the 2 ultrasound pictures that I got from the doctor's appointment yesterday. You basically really can't see anything other than you can see the embryo attached in this picture. And then this is the picture with the heartbeat. That was 122 beats. And it really kind of just doesn't look like a whole lot of anything. When I go back in 2 weeks, they will do another ultrasound, and the 8-week ultrasound pictures will probably be much better and much more clear. Both of these were actually done on my stomach. They were not transvaginal ultrasounds. They were just stomach ultrasounds. So it's kind of early to get any type of ultrasound with just doing it on the stomach. But because the transvaginal ultrasound in the hospital possibly irritated me so much, they did not want to do that again if they didn't have to, and they were able to find a heartbeat doing it this way. So I'm obviously still very stressed out. I'm still spotting a little bit today, but I'm not like stressed out about that at all anymore. And I've also watched videos of other women, and the bleeding can happen again. So I'm not gonna be like super stressed out about that unless I start cramping really bad. So man, it was just so stressful to feel like you're having a miscarriage. And like, even now, I'm still not completely like, I feel like I have a lot of trauma around that situation, and I still don't feel like it's real yet. And I go back in 2 weeks, so I should be like 8 weeks and have like another ultrasound. And I think at that point, I can kind of like finally relax a little bit, but I still am like really afraid to get too excited because I'm afraid something's gonna happen. So, I mean, I guess it's like harder when you like want something so bad, and you know, I'm like scared to get super excited about it. But it has been a roller coaster of emotions like the last like month. And so, you know, it's just been really hard. Bleeding during pregnancy, like, is scary anytime. So like, if you are going through that or have ever gone through that, like, I feel for you so much. But bleeding in pregnancy is not always like, it doesn't mean that you're having a miscarriage all the time. I mean, I was even passing like decent sized clots, not huge clots or anything. I have heard women pass massive clots with the subchorionic bleed, but I didn't pass any like huge clots or anything. It have like mild cramping, but not anything severe. I also don't know if like maybe the transvaginal ultrasound like super irritated me and caused the bleeding to be worse, because I will never have a student who has no idea what they're doing do that in an emergency situation. That was a mistake. But as of right now, everything is going well. I'm going to remain positive, and I am thankful for my nausea and morning sickness and all of the negative symptoms that I have. One thing that I found to make my nausea better is my partner put some crackers by my bed. He makes sure I have crackers every night and water before I go to bed. And in the morning before I get up, I eat like 3 or 4 saltine crackers and I drink some water. And that seems to help. And then I immediately, as soon as I get up, I go and I get a mandarin orange and I sit on the couch and I eat a mandarin orange. And that seems to be helping a lot. Then throughout the day when I'm feeling nauseous, like I feel like I always have to keep something on my stomach, but I'm also like never hungry either. So I've been trying to eat like little tiny snacks all day. And then if I do start feeling nauseous, I have been drinking lemon water, and that like instantly fixes the nausea. So just trying to find things that make me feel a little bit better. I am a little bit stressed out about not being able to eat very healthy, because usually I eat like so many like fruits and vegetables and all this stuff, and everything is just kind of like gross to me. Like I used to like tofu, sounds like disgusting. I don't really want kale. It seems like it would make my stomach hurt. What's something else that is just gross? Yeah, I don't know. There's just, everything seems like really gross to me right now. I was able to eat a veggie sandwich, like a pub sub yesterday with like veggies and hummus on it. And I ate like half of a sandwich, which is like the biggest meal that I've had in like a week at one time. So that was good. Yeah. Oh, let me show you the prenatal vitamins that I'm taking, because they are very gentle on my stomach. Hold on. So these are the prenatal vitamins that I've been taking. I got them off Amazon. I'll link it down below, but I've just been taking like 4 gummies a day. And I guess that makes me feel better about not being able to eat anything, but they're whole food gummies and they like taste really well. They taste really well. They taste great. And then I also am already like super showing. I feel like I'm like 3 or 4 months pregnant already. I don't know if it's because this is my 3rd pregnancy, or if because I'm older and like my gut just is ready to fall out. I don't know. But I like already like cannot hide the fact that I am pregnant. Like my uterus just instantly like swelled up, and then like I'm bloated all the time. I am luckily not having any constipation problems. So that's good. And I say I'm not having any constipation problems yet because I'm only 6.5 weeks along, and I probably will, because I have every other symptom, so I might as well get that one too. I also have heartburn. I'm having to sleep elevated at night, and I can only eat like a very small dinner, or there was one night I ate too much. This was like at the beginning before I started to feel like super nauseous, but I was like up almost all night, just felt so sick. I threw up in the middle of the night. It was bad. I seemed to be like throwing up in the middle of the night and like first thing in the morning. And then throughout the day, I'm just nauseous. Before I leave, I will show you my big 6.5 week baby bump belly that is already ginormous, I feel like. But there we go. My big, already super bloated belly. And then I thought I would share the first positive pregnancy test that I ever took. Let's see if you can see that. So I did keep that. And now if I take one, it's like super dark. But that is it for this video. I am gonna be doing these maybe like once a month or something. I don't know. Hopefully everything will go well and that it will progress and maybe like the stress level will go down. I'm still paranoid I'm gonna have a miscarriage. So I don't know when exactly I'm going to post this video. I mean, I might go ahead and post it anyway, or I might wait. I'll probably eventually post it either way, because I know that a lot of women have dealt with this, and me personally, like watching other people's videos is very helpful. But keep your fingers crossed that everything goes well and that I have more updates to share. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.